Welcome back to Hollywood Pulse. Appreciate all the support y'all been showing. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single drop. Drake just jumped in to back up Jim Jones after Jim started bragging he's better than Nas. And the reason Drake got involved is straight up petty. See, Drake really thought he and Nas were on good terms. But then out of nowhere, Pusha T spilled that Nas is about to feature on the upcoming Clips album, and that was all Drake needed to switch sides and ride with Jim Jones.
At that point, it wasn't even about battle rap or any of that. It was just the information was too shocking. It was, like I said, it was on his part, it was a genius chess move. He obviously has no, when it comes to me, he's not gonna have any morals or respect.
Crazy, right? Everyone else in the rap game backed away from Jim after his wild Nas comments, but Drake? He doubled down like he was ready for war. Now Jim is running wild saying Drake is the best rapper alive. Better than Nas, better than Jay-Z, better than any OG in the industry. And get this, Jim is even defending Drake's legal mess with UMG. As everyone knows, Drake's out here suing his own label for letting Kendrick diss him on Not Like Us. The streets clowning him for running to court after losing a rap battle, but Jim? He's out here saying Drake is doing it for the culture? For real.
What you gonna say to Drake? What you really gonna do with him, man? He's changed the way that we listen to music in the past 10 years wholeheartedly, and everybody that's been around, he's helped change their sound also. For all our favorite rappers, you name the top rapper right now, has helped them tremendously out in their career by just jumping on a record or putting them on a tour. You know what I mean? He's done more for our culture than most of these people.
But here's the real question. Are Drake and Jim trolling the whole game right now? Are they really that thirsty for clout? Or do they seriously think they're right while the whole world's laughing at them? Let's break this down. Jim Jones set the entire rap world on fire when he said he's better than Nas. Fans lost it, calling him flat out disrespectful. The comment sections went off. Most people couldn't even process that Jim versus Nas was a real debate. They were like, is this dude for real? Others just laughed at him like he was telling jokes at open mic night.
Nas or Jim Jones?
Nas.
Nas or Jim Jones?
Fucking Nas.
Nas.
Nas or Jim Jones?
Nas.
All right. Nas or Jim Jones?
Is that a serious question? Nas, bro.
Okay.
Jim Jones the clown.
Nas or Jim Jones?
Come on. Is that a question?
Yo.
Is that a question?
Hey, yo.
Nas or Jim Jones?
Come
though.
on.
I ain't saying who.
Yo.
Nas.
Nas for the culture.
All right. Nas or Jim Jones?
You said Nas or Jim Jones? Oh, Nas.
And it didn't matter that Jim's been in the game for over 2 decades. The second he compared himself to Nas, folks threw his legacy out the window because he went after one rapper that nobody questions. The dude who dropped Illmatic at just 20 and still snags Grammy nominations 30 years later. Ask any legend in hip-hop and they'll tell you, Nas is a genius, straight up. Like RZA once said, Nas is the Bobby Fischer of MCs. That's checkmate level genius right there. But Jim Jones ain't backing down. He's out here standing on what he said and even teased his new interview with Angie Martinez.
I call Nas a Bobby Fischer of MCs. Because Bobby Fischer was the youngest MC youngest chess master
player,
to master. He became a grandmaster at the youngest age.
Right.
There's a few that beat him over the years,
right,
but he was the first one at that age to be, and Nas was a master at the age of 16, 17,
right,
where most of us, because you met us, we was already in our 20s.
Right.
He was at the age of 17, 18, dope as somebody that was 25, 30.
Right. That's true.
And seriously, he's a prodigy child.
Looks like Jim's not done throwing shots at Nas yet. What does respect even mean to these rappers anymore? If you peep the comments, fans are done with this whole convo. They're sick of it. Folks are calling out Jim Jones for clout chasing heavy right now. One user said, "Why is this man-child so obsessed with going viral? That's all I've heard from him for weeks. Does he really think disrespecting Nas will help him sell more records?" Another fan wrote, "How you lose a rap battle you started when your opponent didn't even drop a single bar in response." And they're right. Nas hasn't said a word about Jim. He's acting like Jim don't even exist. Total silence. That's how little he cares. But just when everyone thought this lame convo was about to die down, here comes Drake, jumping into the drama, uninvited like he owns the place. This whole beef got nothing to do with Drake, yet he just had to show support for Jim and throw some slick shade at Nas at the same time. Drake posted a photo with Jim, and Jim slid into the comments like, "Men of respect, mafia rules, a toast to the last ones left." Wild, right? You can imagine how fans reacted. They're roasting both of them hard. People saying this proves Drake and Jim are two of the corniest rappers alive. For real, because Drake stepping out to back Jim ain't about loyalty. It's about Drake loving to stir up drama and bait the rage for clout. He thrives off being the villain just to keep his name trending. And there's another reason why Drake's riding with Jim. They've got history. Jim is one of the few rappers who actually took Drake's side during the whole Kendrick beef. When Drake sued Universal Music Group for letting Kendrick release Not Like Us, the whole world clowned him for it. But Jim, he praised Drake, called it a power move, like Drake was making boss moves for the culture or something. Then, in another interview with Angela Yee, Jim went even further and claimed Drake has done more for the culture than most rappers ever could. That's a bold statement right there. But Jim wasn't done talking wild yet.
Where does Drake stand in hip-hop history?
I would say he's the greatest of all time. The relevancy that he keeps showing year after year, hit after hit, record after record. Any record that he has put out has seemed to go multiple platinum. Like that's never has happened before in this history. I mean, there's a few other people that do astronomical numbers like that, but he really in it. Like, you know what I mean? From all angles of music. It ain't no place you can't go that they not gonna play some Drake records to get the party started. He moving around here like the real Bruce Wayne. Like he's my spirit animal, man. I just gotta give credit where credit is due and not taking away from nobody.
Why? Because he later came out claiming Drake ain't just one of the best living rappers. He's the best rapper of all time. And get this, Jim even called Drake his spirit animal. That's some next level fanboy energy right there. Now when it comes to Drake's feelings about Jim, he's been rocking with Dipset since day one. He always showed love to Harlem, shouting out Cameron, Jules, and Jim every chance he got. Back in 2023, Jim even crowned Drake as the honorary 5th member of Dipset. But here's the thing. Yeah, Drake and Jim clearly got love for each other. But Drake stepping into this Jim versus Nas drama ain't about loyalty or principles. Nah, there's something else going on here. Check this out. Pusha T and Malice just dropped the official track list for the upcoming Clips album, and guess who's featured? Nas. According to Complex, Nas is on track number 12 called Let God Sort 'Em Out, Chandeliers. Now we don't know yet if that's a diss track or who they aiming at, but in a Rolling Stone interview, Pusha described the song as sharp and said he'd been trying to lock in a Nas feature for years. This new Clips album also got a track with Kendrick Lamar called Chains and Whips, and the entire project is produced by Pharrell. So you already know, fans are putting 2 and 2 together because Pusha, Kendrick, and Pharrell, they all got history with Drake. That's a triangle of beef right there. As for Nas, he never had public issues with Drake. At least, not that we know of. But by teaming up with Pusha, Kendrick, and Pharrell, Nas is basically picking a side whether he says it out loud or not. Some people think that's a stretch, but sources close to Drake are saying he ain't happy at all about Nas being on the new Clips album. Why? Because Pusha T is involved. And if there's one man Drake is truly shook to battle in the booth, it's Pusha T. Let's not forget, this is the same Pusha T who dropped The Story of Adidon and exposed Drake's secret child to the whole world.
So that's just kind of where I got to. I just had to admit, like, yo, I'm really, you know, and when I was making the record in Response, which was a real record, I know people think it's like some myth. It was like on this vinyls beat, and I just found myself saying things that, like, one seemed really out of character, just because I was like deeply invested in the situation and getting very angry, and saying things that I don't know if in 2 years I'd want to hear myself say, and yeah, I just realized that, like, nobody cares about this guy, so it's not really much I can say better than Drake has a baby. He won, you know, he won off that bond. I have no desire to ever mend anything with that person. And yeah, that situation just went, you know, it went it just went where it went, and it's just there's no turning back. It's not like those other situations.
He dismantled Drake's public image in one track. And honestly, Drake still ain't recovered from that hit. He tried to act unbothered, playing it cool for the cameras, but everybody saw how rattled he was. So yeah, Nas and Drake never had any real beef before, but with this Clips feature, it's looking like lines are being drawn in the sand. Drake's always shown respect for Nas's legacy. They were never tight like brothers, but they also never had beef, at least not out in the public eye. But here's what really set Drake off. Nas is a huge fan of Kendrick Lamar. For real. After Kendrick dropped his latest album, Riding High, after destroying Drake in their beef, Nas posted the album cover on his Instagram with the caption, "Always inspired by my brother Kendrick Lamar, keeping the essence of this ish alive and at the forefront. Salute King." That's a heavy cosign right there. So now, fast forward to 2025, and Nas is teaming up with Pusha T on an album that also features Kendrick? That's a loud statement if there ever was one. And of course, Drake's taking it personal. Sources close to Drake's camp are saying he sees this as betrayal because he always showed Nas love and respect. Now, circling back to this whole Jim Jones drama, fans are convinced this is exactly why Drake jumped in to back Jim during his wild Nas comments. Because we all know Drake ain't the type to just sit back if something threatens his clout or makes him look weak. He's always gonna throw in some sneaky shade, even if it ain't his business. People saying this just proves how petty Drake really is. Instead of focusing on his own music and cooking up hits, he's out here picking sides in beefs that don't even involve him directly. All because Nas is working with Pusha T, and Pusha hates Drake with a passion. So Drake just had to back Jim and shade Nas to feel like he's still got power in this game. Honestly, it tracks. Drake's entire career has been built on loyalty politics and controlling narratives. He always keeps himself surrounded by people who don't challenge him. And when they finally do, he cuts them off cold. So nah, it ain't shocking at all that Drake inserted himself in the Jim Jones versus Nas drama. But you know what fans are really hyped about right now? That upcoming Clips album. Because with Pusha, Kendrick, Nas, and Pharrell all teaming up on one project, Drake better start writing his responses now. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, share, and comment your thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe for more raw hip-hop exposés and industry drama. See you on the next one.